what are auctions, why people do auctions, and if you're going to an auction, how to buy at an auction. And if you believe that you need to learn anything out of that, let's do that. But before we dive into auctions, I'll just share a bit about my journey, who I am, and why I'm in this capacity to explain to you what an auction means. So I'm an ex Raywhite real estate sales agent based in Melbourne. Raywhite is one of the top companies when it comes to the sales agencies in Australia. So I've worked with them. A lot of their stock or houses go on auction. So I've done a lot of auction campaigns. I've sold properties. I've assisted senior clients, senior agents to sell the property on auctions. I've handled the marketing campaign. So that is one thing. I also run a property buyers agency wherein we helped property buyers like yourself buy properties. But this video is not to sell my services or myself. The idea is just to give you the context, what I've learned and where I'm coming from. I've got my own property portfolio as well, and I've been investing in properties since the age of 20, and right now I'm 41, turning next month. Alrighty, so auctions is the topic here. So we are going to talk one by one. What is an auction? Why people do auctions and how it works. So I'll just move slightly here. All right. So what is an auction? So auction is a way to sell a product. So for example, if I'm going to keep this pen on the shelf with these other pens, then this is like one of them, and you'll just walk in and choose one of the other, and then shop around, and then you might keep it back, you might buy it, that's done. So that is a normal way of selling a thing. Other way of selling a thing is, all right guys, this is the product, this will be sold in a day or two or a couple of weeks or after 4 weeks. This is the specialty of this product and you can buy it at this price. And now this is how an auction works. So this is time limit, and then there is a starting point of the price, and then you have got bidders who will bid, and one of the successful bidder will buy it. Why people try to sell it on auction? Because this pen can be sold in a limited time itself. Instead of keeping it on the shelf for long, I'm able to sell it within a time limit. So that is the benefit, and time is money, everyone knows that. So that is what auction is all about. In Melbourne, you have a lot of auctions, and there is a reason behind it. There is a lot of stock which needs to be sold. Alrighty, why people do it, I've already explained it to you. But one of the main reasons why the sales agents want to sell the property on auction is very important for you to know. Let's say the days on market, like how many days it takes for a sales agent to sell a property in that area is about 90 days, 100 days, 120 days. To reduce down their days on market, auction campaigns are really good, wherein they are under the pressure to sell a property within 4 weeks, but then in the end it works out better for them. Because imagine if you're a sales agent and if you are taking 120 days to sell one property, you can sell probably 10, 11 or maybe more. But when you're doing it on an auction, in 4 weeks you know that this property will likely be sold and you can achieve more number of sales. Now this is the perspective from the sales agent. Now if you're a seller, why you want to sell your property on an auction is because the moment your property stays on the market for 60, 90, 120 days, like 30 plus days, 60 plus days, 90 plus days, and 120 plus days. So the moment you reach here, the buyers who are wanting to buy the property, they start asking questions like why this was not sold, and there is a lot of harassment which goes for a seller, and people just want to avoid that stage, because as you go stale on the market, there are hardly any buyers. And even if you're going to sell, you're not going to be selling at a competitive price which you initially wanted. So there is a lot of harassment which goes through, so that is why sellers avoid that. Now how this auction works is, I've already covered like how people sell, and now we'll go deeper into how people buy the properties on auctions. So let's go in there. How? So I will break into two pieces. One is a seller and the other one is a buyer. Seller and buyer. And let's say you have one more, agent. He is a sales agent. He or she will help sell the property. Now, the seller, the sales agent will get the seller to sell the property, and they will typically say, I'm talking about an average, the property should be sold in about 4 weeks. Because of those reasons which I've already explained it to you, nobody wants to sell. An auction means you put a time limit, which is a great thing. Now, there will be open homes. Open home says that it is open to general public. You can go to the property and go and check it out yourself. Usually 2 open homes per week. The sales agent job is when he or she does an open home, they collect the feedback from everyone who comes to the property. They ask them questions like, do you have pre-approval? How much is your budget? Do you like this property or you don't like this property? Or worst case scenario, how much will you pay for this property? These are typical 3-4 questions. They ask the buyers who walk through the property and collect that information and put that as a feedback. Now, this feedback will be given to a seller every week or once in a fortnight or whatever they have agreed upon. Now, feedback is very, very important because you as a seller, you might want this price. The market is here and then there is a huge gap. When the feedback is given to you, this gap reduces. That's why the feedback is very, very important. Now, typically what happens is, let's say the market value of a house is 600k. Usually the seller wants 650k. And this is a human nature, you cannot change it. If I'm going to sell my car tomorrow, I want more money. That's why I'm hiring an agent and I'm not putting it onto a marketplace. That is how the human psychology works. But the market wants to pay 575k or maybe 550k for this property. So you see there is a huge gap, and that's what the sales agent does by providing you the feedback. Now on the day of the auction, the buyer. So who are there on the day of the auction? There will be an auctioneer. Auctioneer is the person who will be like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the property, these are the qualities, this is the price, we had so much of interest, and this is the day this property will be sold. If you're interested, keep on bidding, and they will be explaining the rules of the bidding and everything else. So I will not go too much into rules, that you can check it out yourself, but I'm just giving you an overview of how things work. And then there will be sales agent plus. So plus means their team. So on the day, a sales agency, everyone from their office would be there. They will be attached to one bidder each, and these sales agents' job is to push you bid more, push you bid more, push you bid more. So you have to be very, very careful about how much information or you're relying on these sales agents. So there was a call. It's okay. Auctioneer, sales agents, and then you are going to be the buyer. And if you have a buyer's agent, there could be a buyer's agent as well. Now, by the way, buyer's agent, if you're going to hire someone, make sure that they have got experience of either selling or buying properties. If they're just going to be like you, no point hiring a buyer's agent. So buyer, what you need to do is, you need to do, before you reach there, you need to do your CMA. CMA is a comparative market analysis. Means if I'm going to be buying this house, I need to know all the houses on the side streets, houses on the back street, which are similar to my property in last 3 months or so, how much they are sold for. Or if you do not have data of this, then collect the data of a suburb. And if you do not have data of a suburb, then collect the data of the neighboring suburb. So you start from the closest and then you keep on going further. So you want to know how much the similar properties have been sold in the last 3 months or so. If you do not have 3 months data, then maximum 6 months data. That is a comparative market analysis. You need to do it, and this may sound very easy as I've explained to you, but you'll have to check the lot size, you'll have to see the positioning of the house, you'll have to see the close amenities and whatnot, and you have to see which street is it on. Avoid main streets, and there is a lot of due diligence what you need to do. So CMA is the comparative market analysis that will give you an idea how much you should be paying for. Do not get into the trap of what sales agents are saying or what they're tagging as the prices. This is your money. Nobody cares about your money more than you. So you have to do your own comparative market analysis. There is a full process in place. If you want to learn about it, you can DM me. So CMA is one thing. After that, auction trends. So you need to know about the trends. Like in your area, like here where you're wanting to buy a property, what is the auction clearance rate? How many properties are on the auction? Are they selling, not selling? So that you will get to know about the behavior of the buyers. So if the auction clearance rate is, let's say, very very high, means 90%, 95%, 60%, 70%, these are like high numbers. Maybe this is an indication that the market is hot. Whatever you put it on the auction, they get sold. So which is good. Now if the number is low, then you know people are just not buying on the auction. So you need to know the trends here. You need to do your due diligence. Now, before you buy a property on an auction, you need to understand it will be an unconditional offer. Likely I'm saying, which means you need to do your building and pest inspection yourself. Quite a few times I have observed that the sales agents will say, hey, here is the building and pest inspection, you can use this to make your decision. I would say hire your building and pest inspector yourself. Cost you 500,000 bucks depending on where you are in Australia. But imagine you're buying something for $500,000, million, or 2 million. You want to get your guy or girl to do the stuff for yourself. So please make sure that you have done your due diligence. After that, your finance. So before going into an auction, you should know if you need a pre-approval, or if you don't need a pre-approval, you have some sort of heads up from your lender or your banker or your broker that you'll be all right to a certain limit. You need to know that, because if you're going to win the auction, then you have to pay some money upfront on the spot itself. So you have to make sure that you're ready about that, and you should know your limits. So once you have done your CMA, which is a comparative market analysis, that will give you an idea, a very very fair idea, like how much you should be paying for this property. So you should know two prices. One is what is that you're comfortable paying for this particular property, and what is the maximum you will pay for, and never exceed the maximum number. That is also something you need to understand. Apart from that, one thing about the auction is that auctioneer is the one who would be doing all the talking, and you would feel that auctioneer is controlling. Nobody is controlling the auction. Not you, not the auctioneer, not the sales agents. Sales agents can influence you, and but they're not driving force, and not even a seller. The seller is on the day of the auction, they're usually nervous and all of that, because they don't know what is going to happen. Remember, their expectations was 650. The market was paying this much amount of money, so they don't know what is going to happen. All they have done is they have put up a reserve price. Reserve price. So what is a reserve price? So on the day of the auction, it is made very clear that how much a seller wants. So let's say they have said that I want 620 now. 620 instead of 650, they have come down to 620. So 620 is the reserve price on that day. If that does not meet, then the auction will be passed on. Passed on means like nobody was able to meet the reserve price. The bidder maybe stopped somewhere at 560, 570. 570, 600, 610, but they did not meet 620. The auction will be passed. Passed means like then other people who have who did not bid get the opportunity, or somebody who has lost as number 2 or number 1, they will be brought into a room, and then they'll be discussed that. Then there will be a negotiation in the room. So this is overall how this auction will work, and also you need to know about one thing, which is vendor's bid. So what is vendor's bid? When a property is on auction and people are not really bidding, then, or they have reached to a certain level and they are not bidding beyond that, and at that point of time, auctioneer has the power to say another 10,000, 20,000, $100,000, and this is a vendor's bid. So usually you get one chance for a vendor bid. Now every auction is different. The auctioneer will explain everything, how it works, like how many vendor bids they can do. It keeps on changing, but these are overall the information you need to consume, absorb, understand before you go to the auction. And all the best to you.